Question everything in pursuit of your purpose. Ask yourself, what if?
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Pursuit of Purpose podcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Chuck.
And today we have with us
Clint Robinson.
Clint Robinson, the Clint Robinson.
No.
And Clint's been a friend of mine for a while now, and we share some similarities of background and really believe that you guys are going to enjoy Clint's story straight from the source. So, Clint, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And where were you born? Where are you from?
I was born right here in Beaumont, Texas, the good old St. Elizabeth Hospital, and I was raised in Silsbee, Texas by my grandmother. I was given away tragically by my mother at 1 year old. So my great grandmother raised me from a child. So from 1 year old. So, that was very interesting coming up, to get in the weeds on this one. She lived on very little income with Social Security and stuff like that. So we had it kind of rough coming up, to be honest with you. And in the long run, it made me appreciate more down the road. But at the time, I seen all my other friends, around me, and where I grew up at, there were some nicer homes down the road, and I had friends in those nicer homes, and I used to love to go to their house because I went back to mine. I'm like, why can't we have these things? But she did the best she could, man, at her age, because she was generations ahead of me. I say generations, but at my age and her age, and she was born in 1911. So, what a great woman. And I don't know where I'd be, because I was told later on in life that I was being, it was an option for them to put me up, for my mother to put me up for adoption. And my grandmother was like, nope, I got it. So thank God for grandmothers, right? So her name was Mary Eunice Brown, and I miss her every day. She was like my mother and my dad. But she's buried right there at Restlawn Cemetery in Silsbee, and I visit her grave quite frequently. But yeah, so it was a little rough and rocky to get started, but she made sure that we had food on our table, and the lights were on, electricity was paid, everything, all the utilities were paid, and the house wasn't the greatest, some might say unlivable, but it was great to us because that's what we had. And and I remember some Christmases, not all, having to go to the fire station there in Silsbee to get Christmas presents. So, and the last time I did a little bit of live, or a little bit of talking with you guys, I mentioned, rather I'd like to give rather than receive. And I think that's kind of where that came from, because I've seen kind of the other side of the spectrum, and my kiddos have not seen that. And a lot of kiddos have not seen that, of what that life looks like on the other side of not being able to afford presents. And had it not been for the fire department maybe those few years, I probably wouldn't have had a Christmas. So that being said, not to start the podcast all gloom and doom, but that made me appreciate things a lot better later on in life. And it was a Mormon Church Road in Silsbee, Texas, north of town there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, just kind of got in a little trouble as a kid, just the normal stuff. My first vehicle was a Chevy Love. Some of my friends watch this are going to remember that truck.
Oh, that's a hot rod.
It was a yellow Chevy Love. No, you say that. This had a 350 small block in it. Man.
Somebody
made this truck, and they raced it at Houston Raceway Parkway.
I've seen that done quite a bit with those Love trucks.
Yeah. So this thing,
for those of you in the audience that don't know, it's LUV.
Yeah, not love, but LUV, right?
Yeah.
And I actually loved that truck, but
he LOVE'd.
Yeah, I loved that LUV to speed. But got a few speeding tickets, and in that thing because, hey, at 16 with a Holly carburetor dual pumped with a Holly intake, I don't know, with oversized cam and everything else you can think of, and headers and all that thing. I mean, yeah.
For those of you that don't know, a Chevy Love truck probably weighed about, without the motor, probably 1,500 pounds.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a whole lot of difficulty that if you put a little bit of horsepower behind it, that thing would fly.
That thing would fly, man.
They weren't the prettiest thing on the road.
No, they weren't.
And in their original condition, they weren't the most reliable. But they became attractive to people later on after they came out, and after they were actually discontinued. They became attractive to hot rod builders. Even still, people are still using them.
That's true.
To make quarter-mile trucks.
Yeah, that's true. And on that straightaway, the guy sold the truck to us. My grandmother had saved this money. I don't know where she got this money, but he got so upset at this truck because he could never get it to perform and race the way he wanted. He sold it for just pennies on the dollar. I think we bought that truck for less than $1,000, and the engine was worth that at the time. Well over that.
He just wanted rid of it.
Yeah, he was so upset because he had put so much time and money in this truck, but it wasn't performing like he wanted to. Of course, he had a lot of money, and he just, you know what, y'all can have. I think she paid maybe $800 for it.
So congratulations to you.
Yeah.
So did you have any? I mean, understanding that you were raised by your grandmother and all, or was it your great grandmother? Great grandmother. Were there any other kids in the house, or was it just you?
Just me and my grandmother.
Just you. So you had the fortunate circumstance of being the only child.
Only child. Only child. Yeah.
So I can tell you from personal experience that I have envy of only children.
Do you?
Because I was not one. My wife was an only child, and she says all the time, like, we have a big family, big blended family, and they fight like all siblings do. And she will come to me and be like, I don't understand you people. Like, what is this all about?
Yeah.
So now, like, in your life, you're a dad.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have? 3. And does it strike you that way when you see their dynamics taking place, how they fight, how they're jealous, how they have, all this weird strife that doesn't make sense? Do you see that same angle?
I do. I kind of see, and I'm like, I kind of wish I'd had that because, having siblings, you have somebody to play with, and somebody hang out with, ride bicycles with, whatever. So I kind of fight with, whatever. And so, yeah, I kind of see both angles, so to speak. And, my kiddos don't fight a lot, knock on wood. I can't say they always have been like that, but they've kind of matured. My youngest is a freshman. He just turned 15 a few months ago. And then my daughter, my middle child's only daughter, she's 18, and then my oldest son is 23. So they're kind of spaced apart a little bit, and so they haven't fought. They don't really fight a lot, but they get along pretty good.
So obviously you had a cluster, from those ages, 15 to about 8 years there. What you and your wife, what was y'all's agreement on discipline in your home? I mean, how do y'all handle that? I mean, obviously now you got a young adult at 15 and older, but when they were younger, what was your philosophy on that?
All right, Chuck. Well, let me go back a little bit because this is going to form the answer. Okay. So at the age 18, I joined the military, the United States Army, and went to basic training in Fort Dix, New Jersey. And, I'd never been out of the state of Texas. Matter of fact, I've never been on a plane. So the first day of basic, that night, I put my head in my pillows. What did I do? I've never been yelled at so much. I've never been cussed at so much. I've never been any of that stuff. And I thought, man, I made a bad decision. So I'm looking for exit routes. But anyway, I wasn't the only one feeling that way. So fast forward a few years, it kind of changed me. When I came back to my grandmother from basic and AIT, which is advanced individual training, I was a changed person. I was totally different. I don't think she even really recognized me. Obviously, had no hair, but who the person I was not who the person that left to basic training was. And it's probably the best decision I ever made in my life because had I not gone in the Army, I don't know where I'd be because I was, sometimes hanging out with the wrong people, doing the wrong things. I was kind of a wild child, a thrill junkie. Just there's probably nothing I wouldn't try once. Anyway, so I say all that to form that the discipline that I received in the military and got over almost a 30-year span of reserve, National Guard, active duty combined, came back to the way I discipline my kids. Very, very tough on my kiddos. Corporal punishment's legal in Texas. Parents, just so you know, just don't overdo it.
Yes.
Some people overdo it. You can't overdo it.
Yeah.
Just take a belt and wear them out the right way. But anyway, my kids, I've only had to spank, probably one time per kid.
Oh.
It's usually the way that I talk or spoke to them.
Yeah.
They knew that the elevation of my voice, the way I said it, kind of carried a little weight.
Sure.
So, yeah.
How did your great grandmother handle it?
I only got beat one time, and she because she was old school.
Did you get the message?
Oh, I got the message. I got off the bus with my friend down the road, and she didn't know where I was at, and she was scared to death.
Yes.
When I got home, man, she wore me out. Corporal punishment, probably not the right way. Just saying.
Yeah.
But I got the message loud and clear.
Yes.
So yeah.
I received many of those messages.
Oh yeah, I bet you did.
Many.
Yeah.
I think I compiled almost like a book across from just a little lower than my shoulders down to right above my knees in the back.
Yeah.
And my dad
with whatever tools in reach.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
You said a belt. I mean, can you wear a 2x4 as a belt? I mean, just
very careful,
asking for a friend,
Very careful. Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
one time I was acting up. I don't remember what I was doing, but I'm certain that I deserved
something.
Some lashing.
Yeah.
But we were at church, and as we talked before the interview, I grew up in church every Sunday. When the doors were open, we were in church.
Same.
And
same here.
And I kind of had a little bitterness about that. I wanted to be a kid, and I mean, I appreciate it now. But so this one time we were in church, and it was on a Sunday, and I don't remember what I was doing, but I remember this. That's it. You keep on. You're going out with me.
Yeah.
And it was during the service, so it was serious. If he took you out in front of everybody, it was not gonna be good. So whatever it was I was doing, I didn't get the verbal warning, didn't take hold. So I ended up making the trip,
Exit.
So we go out, and there was this long, narrow hallway on the side of the church where it divided the sanctuary from children's church.
Okay.
And it led to all the Sunday school rooms.
Yeah.
So this long, narrow hallway. And during service, it'd be dark in there, and there's nothing going on. It was a nighttime service, so there was no Sunday school, no church, children's church.
Okay.
So he takes me in that hallway, and I'm thinking to myself, well, he can't beat me too hard because I can scream, and they'll hear it in the church. He don't beat me at all. And okay, my dad is a Navy guy, went to Vietnam, and he could point like a drill instructor.
Do the blade hand thing?
No, he didn't. He would do it with a single finger.
Really?
But that finger, it was like a martial artist tool. And let me tell you,
a pressure point.
Yeah. So he started in on me, and he was talking softly, but there was a lot of force in his voice. And he went one time in my chest, and I had never felt this before. I went, I couldn't. It
Yeah.
knocked the breath out of me, and I
Yeah.
felt so
Wow.
helpless, and I got scared.
Wow.
I was. I don't even know. I was probably 10,
Yeah.
8 or 10.
Yeah,
You know.
that jab probably got you pretty good.
Oh, it got
Yeah.
me. It got me so good,
Yeah.
and I think it scared him because it knocked
went-
the wind.
yeah, you
Because I
went-
was like. and he kept going, but he changed his tenor a little bit, you know. And anyway, drug me back into church after I got my breath.
Yep.
You know, stop crying.
Hey, you know, whatever it takes. I said, you know what I mean? It's
Oh man.
I think sometimes you know, maybe we're lacking that as parents these
Yeah.
days because of the way we've evolved and everything that's going on, you know, kind of going on in the world. We just got to get back to the basis of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, getting back, I'm glad you said something about church. I don't want to leave that out because my grandmother was hardcore Pentecostal.
Okay.
And I was raised Pentecostal in Brother Duplessis Church, right up,
Oh,
right up the road.
yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of friends that I still talk to that I went to church with there. And I was the same. We were there on Sunday morning and Sunday night and Thursday nights, you know, and then anything in between. If it was a revival, we were there Monday through whenever.
Yep.
So I've been down that road too. So you know, my grandmother didn't drive, so we had to get rides from members of the church. And God bless you if you're watching, because you the only reason we got to church, because you know how else we could walk but several miles.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and my grandmother would have made it. But thank you. You know who you are. But yeah, we were there. And I have nothing against Pentecostals or any other religion for that matter. But I kind of, you know, went my own way when I, you know, become a teenager. And
He fell from the pure faith. If you're a
Yeah,
Pentecostal,
you know,
he fell from the pure
it's
faith.
not that I, you know, I just kind of went my own way. And
He started watching TV,
yeah,
and he started wearing makeup. I mean, he started looking at women that do.
No,
I'm kidding.
but no, it's
he
you know,
was the poster boy for Turner Burn, son.
Turner Burn. So, but no, I didn't want to leave that out, and
Yeah.
that's important. Also, you know, talking about my grandmother not driving, my Aunt Mary that lived in Spurger at the time had to come. My mom's sister had to come and pick us up and bring us every weekend, every Saturday to the store to buy groceries and stuff. Where else? You know, who's gonna? They didn't deliver a grocery. Walmart didn't deliver groceries back then, right?
So until you started driving, that was the system.
That was the system.
Yeah.
We were at whoever's mercy to come pick us up. You know.
Yeah.
So
That's fascinating, though, and we'll get to more of this later. But I would bet, you know, it's funny how we do things in life. That what you look at now as a struggling upbringing, like a difficult youth, childhood, you know, financially difficult. It's what built the foundation that you became who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's how you learn to make decisions and appreciate things and build things and be creative and come into your own. And I think that's one of the degradations of our current society is that we, us parents who lived in a struggle growing up, we want to protect our little babies from experiencing the struggle. But what we're doing is we're cutting their legs out from under. We're clipping their wings where they can't fly. And then we kick them out of the nest and say, what's the matter with you? Why can't you fly?
And we're definitely suppressing their creative spirit.
Thank you.
You know,
Yeah.
they because obviously y'all found a way.
Yeah, we did.
Struggle causes you to find a way.
Yes, it is.
And we often provide for their boredom, for their entertainment, and that's taking away their creativity.
That's right.
Or we don't make them have chores because we don't want them to feel like they have to do too much, but that's taking away their sense of
That's right.
accountability and responsibility.
That's right.
That's right.
So
When I work, I know we've all worked with parents who have young kids on some level, and that's, you know, it's from time to time, you and whoever you're working with, spouse, whomever, you got to look at that kid and think to yourself, you know, what do you want it to look like when it's just them? when they're living on their own, when they're in their own home, making their way, what do you want it to look like? You know, well, I want to be able to cook and pay their bills. Okay, well, let's start now.
Yeah.
You know, sit them down and say, let me show you the bills. Let me show you how this works. You don't have to pay it. I just want you to see how the system works.
Right.
You know, or, you know, take them to the kitchen and, you know, start with a butter knife and later on we'll get to heat or whatever. You know, teach them how to. And we did. And
that's a good point. Yeah.
They
I had to.
You had to.
I
That's
do.
right.
I became real creative with what I had, you know, and that's you hit the ball out of the park on that one, man. Totally on point. But yeah, getting creative with food. I've done some really good stuff.
Yeah,
some really good. Remember the back in the days?
Yeah,
I used to take peanut butter and syrup and make like the syrup peanut butter sandwiches.
Yes.
And you know, I just all kinds of like the cinnamon toast. I used to love that because we had one of those little pull out.
I still make it on the same
you know
thing.
what I'm talking about?
I got one of those toasters
love
you talked,
those
the modern
toasters.
version of it,
Yeah.
Little
and
toaster
I do
oven?
the exact same thing you're talking. I made it for my wife this morning.
Did you really?
Yes, sir.
Isn't that
Cinnamon
something?
toast?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, you know, it's simple: butter, sugar, and more sugar
And
and cinnamon.
The cinnamon, yeah.
and a little bit of love. And I'll tell you what, that cinnamon toast, as simple as it is one of the most heavenly things to eat. That is truly a delight.
Yes.
At any time of day, but especially in the morning.
Yeah.
I see it with you, Rob. It's a cinnamon toast bacon lifestyle.
Right.
He
I'm
loves
the
it.
bacon.
Yeah,
You're the
right.
bacon. I give her the cinnamon toast. I mean, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right.
But
yeah,
I'd rather not.
If you could make a living on cinnamon toast
If I-
and bacon.
Man, I'd be a very wealthy man.
That's
you would.
right.
You would.
So as a kid, let's say 10, 12 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I actually wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be an attorney.
I went through a stint of that.
I did.
Yeah. What kind? Did you know what kind of lawyer you thought you
I
wanted to
didn't.
be?
And everybody asked me why, because they make a lot of money, you know, because I'd always, you know, that was the
You grow up poor, you look at things like
you're
that.
like, hey, I want to be rich.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, their names, they're on billboards. That's cool.
yeah.
So,
You don't know when you're a kid they're paying for that.
that's right. That's right.
You
That's
think they're
right.
famous and somebody else
Yeah,
put their picture up there.
Right.
They're special.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they got special money. They paid for that.
Did you get involved with it, like in school? Were you any activities other than, you know?
I tried football a little bit. I was kind of on the skinny side coming up. You know, my kids are, you know, my oldest is, you know, 6'3", about 280. So
Not skinny.
you know, and
Wow.
my dad was a big guy,
Mhm.
and I don't want to leave him out, but my dad was a Vietnam vet, and he did 1.5 tours in Vietnam, and you know, was a crew chief and a gunner on a Huey, and so he got shot down several times. He was wounded to, you know, metal in his body, so he was jacked up from the war. So I don't hold the, you know, what he did, and he's passed away in 95, but you know, being out of my life, you know, I think in his mind he was trying to save me from himself, type things. Because we had one talk, my dad and I, and when I graduated basic training, and I'll never forget. Remember the Golden Corral used to be in Silsbee?
Yes, I do remember.
That's where we had this talk at, and he talked about the war and what he did, and he opened up, and you know, some of the things he worked with 5th Special Forces Group out of Nha Trang, and he flew those guys across the border back, you know, on Black Ops and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that he told me, and he kept talking. The more he talked, the more he started shaking. And I'm like, you don't have to talk about this.
Right.
He's like, you need to know. So, you know, I have a lot of respect for him, and I understand. At the time, I didn't understand because, you know, all my other friends that had dad and moms and stuff. But I understand why. And back then, my grandmother used to always say, he's shell shocked. He's shell shocked. They didn't know what PTSD was, you know, back then. And after hearing him telling me some of the things that he had went through and seeing his, you know, co-pilot and pilot get shot and not be able to do anything about it, and trying to run out when they got shot down, and all, it's just a lot of stuff. I'm like, yeah, I get it. You know, so anyway, where was I going with that? With the dad?
But he was very fortunate to return home.
Yeah, he was.
Wow.
So
And I don't and maybe we'll get into more of your story here because I know you in your service you were deployed, I think. Thank you for sharing about your dad because we need to have this steady diet of reminder as to what these people who serve go through and the price that they have to pay. And unfortunately, like in your dad's case, they only come back to what we would consider, real life, if you will, so far. They can only come back so far.
Yeah.
And then they have to cope as best they can. And I know that, I saw a video recently with a Marine that served and it's a sniper in his Vietnam and what have you. And he said, basically, there was no decompressing. He said, they basically put me on a plane with a bunch of guys I didn't know and they dropped me off right near my hometown. And that was it.
That was it.
Go home. You're free. You don't have to go war anymore. He said, but I had I had no idea. I was in Vietnam from about 18 to about 21.
Yeah, and
I didn't know life.
You grew up.
That's what we talk. That's what nobody really talks about.
Right.
We take these babies, metaphorically speaking, they're babies. They've never experienced any life other than being at home, whatever home was, going into public schooling, then going in the military.
Yes.
And that's all they know. They've never been introduced into what we call the real world. Their real world had guns and people trying to kill each other and doing what they're told all the time.
Right.
And having that exact structure of everything all the time. And then they're released from the military, like you said, dropped off, expelled, whatever it may be, and just expected to adapt.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'm asking, more or less interviewing, are we in a better place now with our military to help these folks transition?
I think so. It's gotten a lot better. Is there improvements that could be made? Yes.
Always.
Absolutely. But from the Vietnam era until this current war, the wars that we've been in era, we've made leaps and bounds.
Good.
Now, I will say this. When I was stationed in Florida, I had a soldier that his name is Sergeant Cannon. He kept volunteering to go with another unit to go back and back. And I said, Sergeant Cannon, why? He's like, because I don't know the real world anymore. The real world to me is the desert.
That is his real world.
Yeah. So that's why these Vietnam vets, it's the same thing. It's the same concept. That was their world. This is how they grew up as young men.
Wow.
You know what I mean? As kids to men being blown up, shot at, seeing their buddies guts all over the place. You know what I mean? So that's Sergeant Cannon. Sergeant Cannon did 10 deployments that I know of, and he was still doing them when I PCS'd in 2013.
Good.
From Florida. Yeah.
And you think about that. If that's what you grew up in, like if that's what your introduction into life was all about, and then you're out of it, you're still that pattern, that all that stuff. You're expecting everyone around you you're either a soldier or you're killing soldiers.
Yes.
You're either a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very difficult dichotomy to get away from.
It really is.
Like I've got friends who served special forces, did lots of stuff like that, and I can see it in them.
Yeah.
And that's just something that our society and our system needs to do better with helping these guys acclimate.
Yes.
There's got to be a system we could develop.
They're working on some things right now that the FDA won't approve. I'm not going to mention it right now, but if you go to the Sean Ryan show, you can hear it. But a lot of veterans are decompressing that way and getting back to where they were before they started the whole military journey.
Well, I'm going to ask. I'm a fan of Sean, but this is not a Sean Ryan.
No, it's not
advertisement, but I have heard of people talking about using mushrooms.
Ibogaine.
I've heard about that quite a bit.
5-OB21, I think it's the stuff from the toad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even combinations with, I think L-tryptophan, the thing in turkey.
I don't know
the sleepy stuff.
But
so I've heard of all these things, and I don't know about.
I know that they're doing studies because I was invited to go to Dallas, and what is that college? Well, UTA, I think it is in Arlington, UTA, to do case studies for veterans with PTSD. But did they want you there like Monday through Friday?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't drive.
Right.
I'd love to do it.
Right.
Trust me, I would love to do it because there's got to be something out there that's better. And case in point, I'll tell you what happened when I came back from Iraq in 2009. I went to Florida. I was stationed in Tampa area, and I was having some problems. Like I couldn't be around large crowds. The fireworks were killing me of being around. I was real edgy. The marriage at the time was kind of on the rocks. So, I was a little bit more angry. Anyway, so I went to Medill Air Force Base and I talked to a counselor and I said, hey, I think I may have PTSD. So she starts interviewing me, and about an hour and a half later, and this civilian, she's never been deployed. She was, worked Department of the Air Force, contracted through. So they say you understand, but they don't understand.
Right.
So at the end of this, about an hour and a half, she says, well, I think that we're going to, how she put it, we're going to suspend your security clearance, and we're going to do this. I was like, wait, what? You're going to, with my security clearance? Yeah, because of everything you just told me, your PTSD is pretty severe and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's going to, because I was a 31 Bravo military police, and I had to have a security clearance for my job.
Right.
Those go hand in hand.
Yes.
So I said, that's going to make me lose my MOS and probably get me chaptered out of the Army on a medical. She's like, well, I mean, isn't that what you want? I said, no, ma'am, that's not what I want. So I left and I never came back. The reason I'm saying that is the system at the time was still broken.
Yeah.
Because that's why people don't go. Soldiers, service members don't go talk to somebody about the problem because you're not helping. At least that lady wasn't, the doctor. Yeah. I mean, by saying, hey, we're going to suspend your security clearance.
Right.
I said, you know what? I'm feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Confirm
I think my memory's messed up.
That's right.
I don't know what I just said. I'm sorry.
I was going to tell a story of somebody else.
Yeah, that's it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but were there actually cases where some of these military personnel who did go through experiences expressed that maybe at some VA situation, and then later on, like they couldn't purchase, weapons at like academy, couldn't get their concealed handgun? I mean,
I don't
seemed
doubt
like I heard some of those.
I didn't hear about that, but I don't doubt that.
Yeah, because of a diagnosis.
Right.
Which she was trying to label onto you.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I don't know. Either way, that's
it's not helpful.
Not helpful. Terrible experience.
And I didn't tell her anything like I'm homicidal, suicidal, or anything like that. I'm having bad dreams. I told her exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, can you tell me what happened over there? And I told her some of the things. And I don't know if that part scared her, but, anyway, that's back then. And I hope it's changed a little bit now, that our veterans that are coming back, that you're not going to threaten them with they're losing their jobs, basically.
And both of you men have served in law enforcement. Yeah. And, been through things, had to deal with, just, life-threatening situations, and y'all were the thin blue line between, man and civilian. And, well, that's traumatizing.
Yes, it is.
And so now all of a sudden we're just going, every time an officer goes through a traumatizing event, we're going to take your...
Throw him away.
Yeah.
We'll throw you away.
We used him up, so we throw him away.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And of course they're not going to do that.
Right.
So why they would do that with guys in the military is beyond me.
Yeah. I just hope it's changed and gotten better.
Yeah.
Well,
Clint, we appreciate your service.
Yes, we do.
Really, very much. And if you would, walk us through that. Give us a brief rundown, or however brief you want it. But give us a rundown of how it started, where it went, and how it ended.
So I, like I said, I joined in '88, right there at Beaumont recruiting, and I was gone within, I I was at MEPS getting a physical, doing all that. Probably less than a couple of weeks, I was out of here.
Wow.
So they got me. They fast tracked me, man. and so like I said, I get to Fort Dix, New Jersey. I think it was was it winter when I got there or summer? I can't remember. Anyway, I think it was summer, yeah. And hot, real hot. And like I said earlier, the drill sergeant just yelling and stuff like that. It was just a really big learning curve experience for me. The whole philosophy, and now you know the saying with they're going to make you or break you is very true. They will make you or break you, because there were people that didn't make it through basic training.
Yes.
We sent a lot of people home. You know, case in point, real quick, I want to go down too many rabbit holes, but I went to the latrine one day, and this is probably 3 or 4 weeks after red phase. You go through red phase, white phase, and blue phase back then. And red phase is the hardest. Obviously, this the make or break phase, mainly. All of it is, but mainly they're really, really on you. But so right after red phase or whatever, right at the end, there was a guy on the latrine. I can't remember his name, but he was trying to cut his wrist with a big razor. Well, I was like, I'm going to go get the drill sergeant because I don't know what to do. And I don't, I went and get the drill sergeant because they stayed at the end of the barracks. We were in like old World War II barracks. I said, drill sergeant, blah, 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 blah. And then, I'm saying a prayer rest, trying to kill himself this time, drill sergeant. Well, what, did you stop him? I said, no, drill sergeant. Well, let me go down there and talk to him. So I walked down there, and the drill sergeant walks in the latrine, and he's like, I'm going to kill myself. He's like, well, if you're going to kill yourself, don't use a big razor. Let me get a razor that's really going to help you.
Oh, wow.
That's how they did things back then.
Well,
Oh, man.
And this guy's eyes got this big around because it was, I don't think he was serious.
yeah, he wanted attention.
And he just wanted out.
Yeah.
He ended up chaperoning him out, but
wow.
Yeah, he was going to go get him a straight razor and like, you need to hit that.
Here, let me help you.
Here,
Draw you a
bleed
picture.
out in about 3 minutes.
Man.
Yeah, he'll be gone.
And then you'll be gone. You'll be
Talk
gone.
about a different era.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's,
That's-
they were laying hands on this back then.
Yeah, that's just this,
Yes. And I'm sure you're sitting there thinking, I didn't know I could be this many derogatory names.
Yes.
They're getting really creative.
Yeah, they got real creative with names. But there was one kid named Adams. I'll never forget this guy. You always have that one that's like, you can't touch me, blah, 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 blah. He was that kid, and he was not in my platoon. He was in the, I think, 3rd platoon, but everybody hated him because he got us because it was mass punishment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We did so many push-ups. Anyway, so one morning on a run, PT run, it's really dark. It's real 4:30 probably. Not to get too far down this rabbit hole, but Adams is in right behind me. And all of a sudden I hear, the sound of somebody being there and then not being there real fast. That was what I heard. And I looked over my right shoulder, and there's 3 drill sergeants pounding this guy.
Oh,
nice.
They are laying him out. And I just kept on running in formation. And Adams was a different person after that. He was like,
That was a
drill
tune-up,
sergeant. No drill sergeant. Yes, they tuned that dude up.
wow.
So anyway, I graduate. At the time, I was a motor transport operator, which I didn't really like. So I learned how to drive just about any vehicle the Army had.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's not really my bag. I had a friend in Fort Polk that was in a combat engineer unit. He's like, man, we're blowing things up over here. And I'm still 8, just turned 19, I think. I'm like, you're blowing things up? Really? I want to blow things up. So I transferred into the combat engineer unit and got MOS qualified, and I blew some things up.
Okay.
So that was a fun job. Let's see, I went active duty. That was a reserve unit. I went active duty in 97 for the first time. And I missed Desert Storm, but we were preparing to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 97, they're like, well, we don't have any room for any 88 mics or any 12 Bravos. We're going to have to reclass you. It's like, to what? And they said, well, there's this, and this. They offered me Guam. I'm like, but what job is in Guam? And it was some sort of admin job. I was like, I would love to go to Guam, but I don't want an admin job.
Right.
That's not me. So they're like, well, we have this watercraft gig, amphibious watercraft gig in Fort Story, Virginia, and Virginia Beach. I'm like, Virginia Beach? Heck yeah. So I take that job, and that was really cool. The Army has a little bit of Navy, if you didn't know that, but we got on the water and these things, big amphibious things would roll over trees. It was cool. So I have 4 MOSs in the Army. So my other MOS is 31 Bravo, was military police. And that's what I eventually retired in 2017 as a military police, as an E8 first sergeant. So
Wow. So
yeah.
you were in and active when 9/11 happened.
Yes.
How did that affect your, like, what do you remember about that time?
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was living in apartments in Beaumont, and I was reserved. I wasn't active duty. It was reserved. I
Okay.
come off active duty, and I had just come off active duty, within a year or so. And I was like, I want to go back active. And I remember the planes hitting the buildings and stuff like that. And everybody I knew was like, hey, where do I sign? The recruiters, I mean, they were, lines outside the recruiting offices. That's how patriotic
yeah,
our
man.
country was. Remember that?
Yes. Yes,
Just
indeed.
people wanting to serve. And,
Yes.
So I ended up going back.
Sure.
I wanted to go downrange, and we ended up going to Fort Campbell, Kentucky to, we got activated to cover down for the 101st Airborne guys that were over in Iraq in 02 or 03, somewhere. I think it was 03. And as garrison military police. So we got a taste of kind of this, what our version of law enforcement, civilian law enforcement is, and that part of the MP side of the house. So I was disappointed that I wasn't downrange. I was activated and doing my part because, the lack of troops on Fort Campbell that were actually downrange doing their part. So, I'd been in for a while already, and I think it was E5 or E6 at the time, staff sergeant or sergeant. And, eventually I was like, I want to go. I actually wanted to go downrange. And I finally get to a unit that gets deployed to Balad, which was FOB Anaconda in Balad, Iraq, kind of a central Iraq, in 2008. And the unit we were replacing was an Alaskan unit. And on the last day, we had 2 weeks of like a relief in place called a RIP. So they could show us the ARAO, what their mission was, and what we were doing, what they were doing, was police transition trainings. We're trying to help the Iraqi police. That's what we were trying to do. So going out to their police stations and stuff like that. But anyway, on the last day of our RIP, our 2-week RIP, there's an E7 that went into a Porta-John, took his 9mm out, just blew his brains out.
Good night.
I'm like, why would anybody do that? And it's senior non-commissioned officer, nevertheless. On the last day, he's about to go home, back to Alaska. And I'm telling you, war messes people up, man. Maybe he didn't want to come back. I don't know. But I was like, wow, these guys. And they got lit up pretty hard. They had some casualties. And, anyway, there was a mortar round that hit. They showed us the hole right outside their talk, was the Tactical Operations Center. I mean, just their talk is here. The mortar round hit right here.
Good night.
And it was a UXO, basically. It didn't explode. So, yeah. So I'm like, oh, man. And we got mortared pretty regularly.
Wow.
But a month into Balad, we get a frago, which is a fragmentary order to the regular original op order, saying you need to get up to Mosul. It's the Wild Wild West. They're getting their butts kicked up there. Insurgents are blah, 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 blah. We packed up all of our theater provided equipment and convoyed up there within 24 hours. Now that was a trip.
That in a hurry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were living pretty large on Balad because the Air Force, it was an Air Force, you know, the F-16s were taking off just constantly. The airstrippers out there, and they have good chow. Air Forces, everybody knows that. Right? So we would go to their chow halls and eat real good. And man, we went from Motel 6 or Hilton to Motel 6. Azul, man, the rats are as big as dogs. Man, it was kind of rough up
And
there.
they don't taste near as good.
No,
as
they
the
don't.
Air Force food.
No, they don't.
So a friend of mine was in the reserve unit, Marine unit out of Galveston.
Yeah.
And they finally get their
Yeah.
call up, and they were guarding some dam somewhere because most of them were either engineers or worked at the plants. They understood all that kind of stuff, you know. But that being said, they would take mortar rounds, and he said it's the strangest thing. He said, but you can actually hear it coming, and you know if it's coming to you or if it's
Yeah.
going over there.
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hear the thump and the sound, and not at first, because the first 30 days I would always our counter battery is really well. The counter battery that would hit the mortar round or the mortar location was really well, but we would have an incoming. You would hear those huge loudspeakers, so it'd give you time to get to shelter.
Yeah.
So the 30 days we're all running to the shelter.
Yeah.
But it seems like after the 30 days, we're like, you know what? If you got to come to peace with, if you're meant to die, you're meant to die. Everybody's, pretty much in the book of life, you are life and death, man. The first book of life, so to speak, is if it's your time, it's your time. You're running into that bunker or staying right there in your bunk and taking it. If God wants you, he's going to take you, no matter where you're at.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm not moving.
Wow.
And a lot of us were like that.
Yeah.
We were like, you know what? If it's meant to be, hey, I made my peace with God, man.
Yeah.
I'm ready. If you want me, just take me.
Wow.
So I stopped running to the bunker. But that's kind of how it went after that, and Missoula was even worse. But yeah.
So what was the end of your military career like?
It was interesting. The further you get up in rank, the more administrative stuff that you have to do. The more responsibility you get, obviously, the more equipment you sign for. I probably signed for, I don't know, $10 million worth of equipment, Humvees, and you name it. Anyway, so the new Army, when I say the new Army, was not what I was used to, like how I was brought up, the old Army. We started evolving to the atoms, the private atoms. So you can't touch me, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that was because, not to be too political, but Obama was elected in 2008, and that changed the face of the military.
Sure. It did.
A lot of guys that are from the old school, the powerful military, they really resented that shift.
Because when you came in, y'all were on the heels of what Reagan built. And y'all were a Cold War.
We were Cold War,
and then that changed in the early 90s, and it was a whole different philosophy. And then, of course, we had different administrations.
We went through 5 presidents.
So,
4 or 5
if he was in the 90s, that was Clinton.
88, Reagan was
Bushes,
still there.
Reagan.
He went through the entire.
Wow.
I've seen a lot of changes, especially with the Clinton administration in the 90s, of the drawdown and the base foreclosures, the BRAC, base reassignment, blah, 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 blah.
If you discharged in 17, you were even there for a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Man, that's amazing.
So,
yeah. And you definitely could, and I'm presuming, that even among, just your fellow soldiers, were they try to be a little as ambivalent as they can, or did they kind of go with the temperament a little bit? Or
I had some that were kind of old school like me, and wanted to be old school, wanted to be dress and strack pretty much all the time. And then some that kind of bent the rules and kind of went with let's go the new way. You know what I mean? So
the general attitude of administration and those who were getting up to general status and all that was coming, trickling downhill, did have an effect
Yes.
on a lot of folks.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes, it did. Because you have to keep in mind that the basic trainees going to the drill sergeants are fed something from what's called TRADOC, training and doctrine command, to them that they have to push down on these recruits. So whatever that doctrine says is what they're pushing on the new recruits, and they're filling their heads with.
Right.
So
Interesting.
we're getting when we get new replacements and new troops, we're getting what basically what the top down is telling them to do.
So when you see, and this is asking your opinion, and you have a more a better opinion than we do because you did serve. So you see guys like Hexeth in there, and a lot of the things that he's espousing. What's your take on the effect that that's probably having on our military as a whole?
I wish that we had a Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, whatever like that when I served, man.
Yeah.
Because I can remember the Rumsfelds and stuff like that. But man, it seems way more proactive rather than reactive, and that seems like almost throughout my entire career was like a reactive type mode of a diplomatic way of doing things, and politicians trying to run the army and or the military in general. And it just doesn't work that way. I think Vietnam suffered the same thing.
Yeah.
And when you have people that are very proactive, like Hegseth, and wants to get out and make war fighters again and bring the fight to the enemy, that's what warriors want to do.
I mean, that's kind of World War II status.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we became an offensive. And matter of fact, they would use that term a lot. There would be these smaller version offenses, but there was the greater offense. To go, liberate Europe from these, from the Nazis.
That's a great point. So nothing's changed. We're just going back the way it's kind of should be and has been.
Yes.
If you think about it.
It's a great back to the origin.
Right. Because if we're defensive, if we're just waiting for the fight to come to us, that means there's a void.
Yes, there is.
And nature doesn't like a void. Nature hates a void. And it will fill it likely with not good things, which is why we're probably in the current action we're in now.
Good point.
49 years of doing nearly nothing, and created a void.
Just taking it on the chin, there's only so much of that you can take.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. Well,
So
thank you for your expert opinion.
Yeah. And that's a really full career, like a lot of varied experience throughout that time span that you served.
I mean,
that's pretty amazing.
30 years.
All those different administrations. So throughout your life, childhood and service, and even to now, do you have any major mentors, people that have been influential on you?
Yeah, I've had a lot of really good people in the military. When I was in E3, it was private first class. We had an old sergeant. He was a Vietnam kind of leftover. His name was Sergeant Powell. Used to love this guy. I remember a time we were in Fort Polk. We were on a field training exercise, and this guy, all the young guys kind of went around him because he was that wise sergeant that had been in Vietnam, and had Purple Heart. He was decorated, and we just loved. We was like, he's like, we idolized him, but he would just have a certain charisma and the way he'd done things and said things. It was just awesome. So that rubbed off on me, I think, as well as some of the other my friends and troops. But Sergeant Powell was trouble too, because we were getting probed one night to get attacked. Now, this is training, but he went into flashbacks. He asked me, and I can't remember the other troop next to me, where it was really, really cold at Fort Polk this winter. I'll never forget. We were drinking hot soup, out of the, I forget what they're called, but they keep stuff warm and cold.
Like
anyway,
thermos.
And I'll never forget, it was the best crappy soup ever. But Sergeant Powell's like, "Did you see him?" Me and whatever his name was. "See what, Sarge?" "They're there. Do you see him?" No. What are you looking at?" He's like, "Right there. You don't see him." So he's like getting down. His voice is lowering. And we're close to our perimeter. We got concertina wire up and stuff. And he was really going back into the Vietnam.
Oh, my.
I mean, like going back to the jungle.
Whoa.
And it kind of freaked me and my friend out. We're like, Sergeant Powell's having a flashback here, man. And we were like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, but watch out. They're right there. Sure enough, though, we got attacked later. So I don't know. we got and I'd set some trip flares up right outside our perimeter. Basically, it's a string. You tie it, and it has a illumination flare on it.
Okay.
And I'd set several of those up on the side that we were covering. And I don't know, about 30, 45 minutes after Sergeant Powell was having flashbacks, maybe he did see something. I don't know. But
You had a sense of it for sure.
yeah, you hear, and it's pitch dark, and all of a sudden the light skies up, brightens up like the sun on the left side of our perimeter there. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, it's on.
They're here.
And then, so I go run over the 60. I'm like, pop, 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 pop. But Sergeant Powell may have been onto something. Maybe he did see something. I don't know, but that was really weird. But yeah, that was one of the mentors. And I can think back. I had a major when I was in Florida, Cesar Rodriguez. Great guy, man. He was enlisted before he became an officer. Super great guy. I learned a lot from him. I was in operations at the time in S3, what's called S3. And that guy taught me things. He'd been to war college and stuff like that. So, yeah, he was very, very knowledgeable, very smart. So, yeah.
Do you still have any communication with those guys?
Actually, I do. We call him Caesar now because he's a retired colonel. He's got Airbnb in Puerto Rico. He's, man, come down here. I'll give you and your wife a great deal, blah, 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 blah. I was like, sure, love to, man. Sergeant Powell passed away, but yeah, I keep up with some good people.
Did you find most of the people you served with and under were pretty generous with their knowledge, like these guys?
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a couple of other just acquaintances who served in different capacities. One of them was in the Navy, and he said he started getting frustrated with the person, I guess would be his chief at the time in whatever department they were in. And he said he would be training somebody new, and so this guy's over there working, but he's listening, and he realizes he's not telling him everything. He said, "How come you didn't tell him?" He goes, "No. If I share everything, you won't take my job." He got real defensive about that.
Wow.
And I said, "Was that reoccurring?" He goes, "Yeah, happened all the time. When somebody would basically be assigned, because somebody would basically, I guess, either transfer or whatever, and they bring somebody in." So he said, "On my own, I wasn't supposed to. You're supposed to stay in your lane."
Yeah.
I'd take these guys aside. I go, "You need to know this too."
Right.
Like he'd slip them notes and stuff.
Yeah.
And he never really said anything. He told me, he said, "But I didn't know who to say. Hey, this guy's not doing his job. He's going to get somebody hurt, or equipment's not going to go, or this guy's going to reach some point where I don't know what to do next. So this guy gets to come in and save the day." I mean, all those dynamics.
Yeah.
And so hopefully you didn't have much.
No, that's toxic leadership. Now, I have experienced toxic leaders in my time, and I've learned just as much from them as I have from the really good leaders. Knowing what not to do and what not to say and how to become a good leader. So, but yeah, that's very toxic. Man.
Yeah.
You don't do that when you're trying to help. You have to help people out.
Right.
And
right.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we teach as coaches is we are training the next generation.
That's right.
We train our leader students to say, train your replacement and know there's either you're going to stay in this job until you want to retire, or you're going to promote, and you can leave that position with confidence. Hey, that I have a successor I can recommend. Yeah, because I trained them.
Yep. That's right.
So, and but anyway, that's
continuity.
Yeah,
it's kind of what you're just spreading the wealth and giving it to somebody so they can take the ball and run with it. I don't get. Anyway.
Yeah.
So you honorably discharged, and then from there, what happened?
Well, let's go back a little bit. So during my reserve National Guard time, I joined the police academy in '94. Went through the 9th academy and actually graduated in '97 because I was working a couple jobs, put myself through the academy, and so I was a civilian cop at the same time I was in the military. Because a lot of time, all my time wasn't active.
Right.
I've kind of been, if I wasn't a police officer, I was active duty, and then vice versa. You know what I mean? So when I retired, my wife and I met in the Army. She was an admin down in the hall in another unit. So we were both veterans. So kind of, she kind of knows a lot about me and all.
Speak the same language.
We speak the same language. Yeah. She understands my acronyms, so to speak. And, but yeah, so
I'm hoping our audience is looking some of these up.
yeah, some of the acronyms and everything's an acronym, but reminds me of Robin Williams and Good Morning Vietnam. Great movie, man. You got to watch that with the acronyms. But so we moved to Aledo outside of Fort Worth. My oldest son graduated high school there. He's got 2 state football championship rings.
Go ahead.
Nice.
And in 2020, right around COVID, decided we were going to buy our first house. I've never bought a house because we moved around so much, especially with the military and stuff. Used our VA loan and bought a house in Lumberton. I wanted to bring my kids back to the area that I grew up in, so maybe they can experience some of the same things like the beach, Crystal Beach, Sam Rayburn, some of the things I did as a kid, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we moved back here, and she and I both joined State Guard, so we're both members of the State Guard now. I joined in 2020, yeah. So I've been in 6 years now. So with my degree and my training, they brought me in as a chief warrant officer too. So I came from a non-commissioned officer into a chief warrant officer role, which is pretty cool because I always admired and wanted to be a warrant officer. Actually, at one point in time, I was at Fort Campbell before you go to warrant school because they're kind of not every branch has warrant officers, but they're kind of in between the officer rank and the NCO rank. They're considered an officer, but they're not a commissioned officer. It's warrant. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, to be honest with you. So, but anyway, our unit's in Richmond, Texas. So we work hand in hand with National Guard and Air National Guard. So Texas Military Department. So still serving.
Appreciate that.
That's awesome.
Still miss the uniform, man. Miss the camaraderie, So I had to
Can't get enough of it.
No, I can't get enough. Can't get enough.
It's in your DNA.
But,
So is that a volunteer thing or is it?
Yeah, for the most part, we get paid. For when we get activated. A lot of times, you probably seen them here. I wasn't here during Harvey, but a lot of those people in uniform were State Guard and some National Guard. But a lot were State Guard. So those guys getting activated do get paid, yes. And I just heard last drill that I guess the state Congress and state Senate is wanting to pay us for actually drilling, which will be nice. Okay. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've got a pretty amazing life.
Yeah.
A life of service.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to ask you the question. Do you consider yourself successful?
Yes, I do.
That's quick. You answered quick.
I
No
do.
hesitation. I like it.
Well, I mean,
like that too.
here's the thing. Like I said, I was raised with almost nothing. So that formed who I was at the time to who I am now.
Of
and who I
course.
have been. And back up a couple of years, I started my private investigation business, and the business is doing really well. I look back on everything I've been through, and it's really helped me evolve to the person I am right now with my business, who I am as a father, and so forth and so on, and as a person, husband. So
Yeah. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
That is a great answer. Yes.
So what will your legacy be?
That's a good question. I named my company Corbin Clay Investigations. It's the middle name of both my sons, Trevor Corbin and Dalton Clay. So what I want to do, what I hope to do, is retire for the third time, hopefully in the next 3 or 4 years, maybe less than 5. and hand this company, hopefully it's built up enough, to my 2 sons and let them run with it. And then I can retire, and probably work on another one.
I'm going to challenge you with something, and we're big on this with our show, with our practice, life in general. I'd like to challenge you to remove that word from your vocabulary.
What's that?
Retire. And I'd like to challenge you to replace it with repurpose.
Repurpose? I like that too.
So retire is kind of a final, it's a finishing word.
Yeah.
It's complete. It's finite. But repurpose never ends. And that's all we do. All we do is reinvent ourselves.
Yeah.
All we do is repurpose ourselves. My grandfather once told me, he said, I retired so I could start working.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Well,
That same Sergeant Powell I told you about, the Vietnam vet, said that when a man retires, he starts dying.
If you follow the true meaning of the word retire,
right.
yes.
He starts dying.
That's why I want to challenge you with
I
that.
told you he was wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would have been a great interview for this show.
it
yes,
would
he
have been.
would.
Yes, he
Yeah.
would.
But you honor him well.
Yes, you do.
I like
Yes,
the way
you
you
do.
tell his story, and that's you honor your great grandmother well
Yeah,
too.
man, she was a great woman. They don't make them like that anymore. They're
So-
just really good.
What separates a successful person from a failure?
It's a good question. The person that I would say that is successful never quits. If you have quit in your vocabulary, you're never going to be successful.
Now, I want you guys to notice something, and I don't do this too often. I'm talking to the audience now. He didn't say that a successful person never fails. A successful person has to fail.
Yes. Yes.
Because in order to attain any level or type of success,
Mhm.
Yes.
it means that you were trying things that were beyond your
Right.
current knowledge and capability
Right.
so that you could grow. And in order to do that, you are inevitably going to fail.
That's right.
So
That's right.
don't fear failure,
No.
fear quitting,
Yes.
and make that decided action part of your life.
That's right.
Every day.
Good point.
Ain't no quitting.
Ain't no quit.
No,
No.
quit.
And any
Yeah.
of those special operators will tell you, like the SEALs, Delta, and all that, the first thing to go is your mind.
Mm.
And then the rest follows. You're ringing the bell or whatever the case may be
Yeah.
on any branch. So if you quit, if you already have in your head that word that you don't need to have in your head, you're more likely to not succeed.
Right.
So
No, that's profound.
That is.
Yeah.
I like that
That
a
is.
lot.
It is. That preaches.
So we really appreciate you sharing your story
Yeah.
with us. We're drawing to the end here, and there's a couple of questions that I always really love to ask. But before I do, I want to give Chuck the chance.
sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
No questions. And it's probably kind of been the thing I end up doing these interviews. But just an appreciative recap. Thank you for
Mhm.
being an overcomer. I mean, you had
Yeah.
enough wisdom as a child to look around, and you grew to realize the situation you were in through
Yeah.
no fault of you or your great grandmother.
Mhm.
But you also knew there could be better.
Mhm.
You mentioned I had these friends, they lived down the road, and I knew that they just didn't, their folks didn't wake up in that, they built that.
That's right.
And so you said, I have to find a way to do it. And you found ways, man.
Yeah.
And it, you climb the mountain,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
several mountains actually.
Yeah.
But, and as Rob alluded to just a moment ago, even that many decades in the military, there was going to be transitions.
Mhm.
So you took new jobs. So that
Mhm.
meant new training, a new expansion. And anytime we grow, it's kind of like, reading a book or taking a class. It was like building empty rooms onto our house that only God can fill,
That's right.
and it just kept filling and filling. And
Yeah.
so now you're building legacy,
Yep.
for your sons,
Yes.
who are getting in these late teen, early 20s.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be pretty cool. So, but thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Thank you for
man. Thanks
for being a force for those successful positive
Yeah.
things in this world. And
Yeah.
you're still doing it,
I am.
and you're sharing with hopefully many people who will listen
Yeah,
to
I
this
hope
many
so.
times. Yeah.
I hope this hits home. And you brought up something really good. God has always been there for me.
Yes.
So never give up on that either.
Yeah.
Don't ever give up, because a lot of people blame God for things that it doesn't even need to be in the realm of him,
Right.
of him being blamed for anything.
That's
Just don't forget your faith.
Right.
That's another thing that I didn't add
Thank
in there.
you.
Very, very important thing of being successful. So,
Oh, you added it. You just didn't overtly add it. So,
Yeah. So thank you for today.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
I'm gonna enjoy watching this again.
Yeah,
Just getting
sure.
some of those nuggets,
Yeah.
because when we're in conversation, we're thinking of our next, promoted question or whatever.
Yeah.
But you shared a lot of information, and I know folks will get a lot from it. So thank you, Clint.
yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
it's a great story.
Mhm.
Great story. So I have two questions that I'm
Sure.
going to ask you. They're my favorite two questions. I close every show with them.
Okay.
And then after I do that, we've got a couple other things we're going to do before we're finished.
Okay.
Okay. But the final two questions, the first of which is, if somebody in our audience, let's say they're 15 or 16-year-old, young person watching your interview, and they find inspiration in it,
Mhm.
what advice might you give them?
If you're younger, like I
Maybe
said,
even 18.
yeah, you're still learning. So, and I know this because I have that age in my house right now. Sometimes you may think you know everything and maybe know more than your parents, but you probably don't. Let me tell you why. I have a 23-year-old son right now that was kind of that way. But now that he's, I've got my first grandchild, by the way. I didn't mention Core, but he's a father, and his outlook on life has totally changed.
Yes.
So to the point where, wait, maybe I didn't know what I was doing, and maybe Dad was right back then. So just listen to your parents and try to be obedient the best you can, and remember God. Please put God first. So there you go.
Perfect. That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's really good. Something came to my mind while you were saying that, and it came from, I believe it was one of the books that I went through. But, there's nobody in your life that's going to want you to succeed beyond them except your parents.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If a kid could just grasp that concept that these people, they want me to do better than them, and they're the only ones on this earth likely to ever want me to do better than them.
Yes.
They might actually appreciate the stuff that's
right.
Their parents put them through.
Yeah.
For the most part, that holds true.
If you
For the
can
most
grasp
part.
the younger you can grasp that, I think the better things will go
Exactly.
for people. And so I know I was much older in the game, more like your son. And then later I realized, my dad was very wise, very talented, and I knew it and I appreciated it. And I was, he was revered, he wasn't disrespected, but I still had to go out there and prove how dumb I was.
Yeah.
Too often.
Yeah.
And you did it well,
And
didn't
I
you?
did it well.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a success.
Yeah. No, I've been down that road too. Yeah.
So my final question, and it is my ultimate favorite question. If you could go back in time
Mm-hmm.
and whisper some sage advice into your own ear at about 17 years old, and that's all you can do is you can give yourself advice, what would you say to the 17-year-old version, the hot rod version of Clint Robinson?
That Chevy love.
Yeah, and the Chevy love. Well, personally, I would have spent more time with my grandmother because she's very sick, with cancer and stuff like that. And I wish I could have spent more time with her because you're never going to get that back.
Mm.
And life is too short to put the people you love aside and put things ahead of them that are materialistic or not going to be around for long. So you want to spend time with the people you love, especially that person that loved you when no one else would. So
That's beautiful.
It is. Thank you.
Very profound.
Yep.
I like that. And I hope that your kids hear that. I hope my kids hear what you just said.
Mhm.
And I hope that everybody hears what you just said. That
Yep.
was so profound. Thank
Yes.
you. That was one of the best ones ever.
It was.
So in closing, we've got some gifts for you, and we appreciate you being a part of the pursuit of our purpose. And we appreciate you allowing us to be a part of the pursuit of your purpose. So we have some things that you may have noticed in our set here on our show. We are in a vault,
Mhm.
and in a vault is kept things of value, right? So first of all, your story is being told in this vault, and it's a thing of great value.
Yeah.
And we have a money tree in this vault. I'm sure you've noticed.
Yeah, I have noticed it.
So one of your souvenirs is you get to pick your own fruit off the money tree,
Okay.
and one of those $2 bills is yours now
Is that right?
as a souvenir. So go ahead and pick
I was
you
wondering
one.
when I was going to get a $2 bill.
That's right.
There you go. I'll get one right over Chuck here.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, look at that.
There you go.
Yes.
So
I love them.
and
Yeah.
your other souvenir that you're going to get is right here. And this is, well, I'll let you open it. I'll let you
All right.
see for yourself.
Okay.
You're going to be the newest inducted member into a club, very special little club.
All right.
And that is the Golden Rule Club.
Okay.
Here at Pursuit of Purpose, in our practice and our teachings and everything that we do, we inculcate the principle of the Golden Rule, but in its entirety. So the Golden Rule that we've all been taught as children was,
treat people like you want to be treated.
yes.
Yeah.
But what if there's a little bit more, just a little bit more to it that makes it a little more powerful, brings it home a little more? So in its entirety, the Golden Rule is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you if the roles were reversed.
Mm.
See, the way we say it, the way we're taught it, it still keeps it focused on you.
Yeah, true that.
Treat them like you want to be treated.
Mhm.
But that's not quite enough. The Golden Rule principle is meant to build empathy
Yeah.
into us.
Right.
So now you are the newest member of the Golden Rule Club, and this marble you are charged with carrying on your person at all times as a reminder that in every endeavor you undertake, you build it on that principle, the principle of empathy.
Got it.
And there's a little explanation of it in there. If your eyesight's good enough, you can read it. It's microscopic words, so I won't try to make you read that right now, but on that paper is the explanation.
All right.
You don't have to read it. It, like I said, it's small. It's really small, but
You saying I'm old? I can't see.
no, I mean, if you can read it, you're welcome to it, but there's no pressure.
So we carry ours on our person.
I see
Yeah.
that.
So too.
No, I like that. That's a great gift for somebody that comes on here, man. And
There's
yeah,
mine.
it's got meaning behind it for sure. You've polished that one up a little bit.
Mine's
Right.
been in my pocket
Yeah.
a minute.
Yeah.
Mine's actually the first one. So when the first one was made, and these are custom made, they're
Okay.
they're laser engraved. And when the first one was made, it wasn't cut as deep as the others.
Okay.
But to me, the meaning is still
Yeah,
there.
you still got it.
You can
don't
still
need that.
see it if you look real good.
Yeah, you don't need
Yeah.
an engraving. You know what it says.
But yeah,
You know
it
what
has
means.
it has been in my pocket a
Yeah,
minute.
I can see that.
But anyway, so welcome to the club.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And at
Appreciate
any
that.
point in time,
Let's
should
just
you
put that
cross
there for now.
paths with another member that you know, you can challenge them. You pull your marble out and show it to them. And if they don't have theirs, they have to give money to a charity.
It's kind of like having your air salt coin when you go to air salt school. If non-air salt doesn't have one, they do push-ups.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So welcome to the club. So that ends the interview portion of the show. Is there anything you'd like to part with for the audience? Is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with?
No, just like I said, just thrive. Just set your goals really high and don't stop. And you can be anything you want to be. We live in the greatest country in the world. Nothing's stopping you.
Just
Obviously, just you. Obviously, if I can come from the things that I've came through and get to where I am now, and it doesn't mean you can't either, and even get higher. Set your goals way higher, and sky's the limit. So there you go.
That's not even the sky's the limit anymore. There are no limits.
There are no limits. So.
Elon's planning on colonizing Mars.
Mm.
So thank you guys for allowing us
Yeah.
to be a part of the pursuit of your purpose. And before we go, if you like the furniture that you see here and you happen to be in the Southeast Texas area, make sure you go check out Highway Furniture and Mattress over in Lumberton. They have so graciously provided our furniture for our set. And also, if you are in the market for some really nice real estate, like a Texas ranch, if you really want to be a part of Texas and our history and our culture, and you're interested in some estate style real estate, get with Stoney Pettit from Texas Ranch Sales. He has graciously provided this set for us, and we want to give a big shout out to both of those two sponsors.
Thank you.
So you guys have a great day.
Mhm.
I'm Rob,
I'm Chuck.
and we've had with us
Clint.
Clint Robinson. It's been a great interview. Thank you guys. We'll talk soon.